Hi everyone, it's Sean from Pulse Markets here. It's Tuesday morning, and Southern Cross have done it again. Another cracking result. I think this is another massive one for Victoria. We've got Mike Hudson here this morning, just to go over these stonking results. Mike, congratulations, mate. Good to see you again.
Sean, always a pleasure. Even better when we can talk about results like this.
I'll tell you what, when we sat together for the IPO, we talked about this project. You'd already done a lot of drilling, and I think 3 weeks out of the gates, you came through, or 4 weeks, came through an absolute cracker. And mate, you've done it again. 380 grams. It's a monster.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly simple story to understand here, Sean. We've hit the highest grade drill results on the project today. So we drilled 2.1 meters at 121.6 grams per tonne gold equivalent within a broader zone of 21 meters, 21.5 meters at 15 grams per tonne, half an ounce. That's pretty good in anyone's language. And this is from a new area called Rising Sun that is 350 meters away from where the predominant amount of results have been published before at Apollo. So highest grades, new zone, system getting bigger. Okay, Sean, you can see here the LiDAR image looking down, as if we're looking down from a plane onto the project. This end down here is Golden Dyke, up here is Apollo. You can see the old workings. These were from the 1800s, these northwest pits that are about 20 to 30 meters long. You can see Gladys here, it's about 100 meters long. Some of the old pits, pockmarking of the old placer mining from the late 1850s. So if we were to rotate this around, we can see that the old mines start to show themselves. So we're looking to the north now. I'll just remove that topography so it's not as strong. And we can see Golden Dyke here, 180 meters, about 6 levels there. Across here, there was 20 stopes within 200 meters, so lots of frequency, high grades. This is the Rising Sun area, and here's Apollo down to 100 meters with 4 levels, including a little one down there at the bottom. So then if we put, which is most interesting, our drill hole hits, our broader, thicker hits in yellow, and our higher grade hits in red, you can see here the drilling that we've done. Now, this is all projected onto one plane, so it's coming from the north and south. But the key point is here, this is the Apollo area out here. There's actually 6 different shoots in here if we were to look at it in detail. This big red hit here in the middle of the deposit hit project now is Rising Sun and hole 46. You can see that's now started to be drilled down over 250 meters. So it's a new area developing, just like this Apollo area. The most prolific mine on the field is Golden Dyke here, and we're just starting to drill under here now. And you can see there's a paucity of drilling, even though there's mining right across the field in all these areas. These holes look like they've tested it, but they're drilling actually a long way away from the whole area there, as you can see. So a fantastic big step out, 350 meters here, highest grades, and great context for this system to continue to develop.
That system getting bigger, I think that's significant. What we're looking for, Mike, when we work with companies like yourself, it's nice to have those holes that keep coming, like you've got some great results, but we're starting to see this system develop. This isn't a couple of holes now. This is an actual system. And as you said, you've stepped out. I mean, you're still looking, but this is a project, wouldn't you say? This is a decent project.
Yeah, no, I think, we all thought it was a pretty special project before. And, we've seen width and grade continually developed from the project since we've listed in May. And even before that, remember, we had $6 million in the ground in the 18 months pre the listing. So we bought the freehold land. We've had confidence in this system for some time, but it's getting better, right? We're on hole 46 here, which is not too many holes, and we're still exceeding the previous holes from what was already a good project. New area. We're going to see many more of these shoots develop. The grades here are spectacular. You know, we intersected up to 380 grams per meter over 40 centimeters. You'll see in the press release photos of the drill core with abundant fine gold, just speckled like a shotgun had hit the core. It just looks so impressive, and you know, that's an indication of these higher grade gold, lower grade antimony opportunities that can form in these epizonal systems that we see just down the road in Fosterville and Costerfield. Below about 800 meters, they go into these very gold-rich zones alone. Yet they had those indications of those very high grades above 800 meters, which is what we're seeing now. So you can draw the line that, you know, the opportunity here at depth is very exciting.
Okay, so with that in mind, you've obviously done a lot of drilling around Apollo. You've now got Rising Sun. You've got Gladys. These shoots are starting to really take form. But you've gone down to that 440 meters mark with your drilling. Are you looking at going down to see if there's more at depth, like Fosterville and Costerfield?
Yeah, we've taken step outs, and pretty bold step outs to date. You know, drilling a system down to plus 400 meters is what people have not done outside those current mines to date. And, you know, there's a good slide in our deck showing a bubble chart of depth of drilling and width of drilling, and you can see that we've already distinguished ourselves in one way by drilling deeper than most. But yes, is the simple answer to your question. We're getting towards the point where we think we can start to take bigger step outs, and that belies the controls and understanding we have on the system, at least in that Z direction, if you like, down the plunge of these shoots. At Rising Sun, we've just hit each 50, 60, 70, 80 meters apart in drill holes as we've gone down to 250 meters at Rising Sun. But they're just single points in the shoot, and we've been able to target it because it's such a linear system. And we can start to apply that linearity. You know, geology always surprises us, so we shouldn't think we're too clever when it comes to second-guessing nature. But I think we're almost there to start putting in a couple of deeper holes. You know, and that leads to what's the strategy here? The strategy is, number one, to make it bigger today. And so what we're doing at Rising Sun is playing to very much that, drilling new shoots, extending them to depth, finding new shoots, and then the other part of the equation is infilling to drill up a resource, which is not what our strategy is right here today. Obviously, this system demands more drilling. We've got 2 rigs running full time now, and we will look to find more rigs, but then the third or fourth leg, if we like, is going to that. Let's see what happens at depth. Let's see what happens to the 10 kilometers along strike in some of the historic mines that have never seen a drill hole. So there's various strategies to play. The one that we're focusing on at the moment is that making those shoots bigger, extending them, and finding new ones within the main zone. But we're not forgetting those other parts to this of what we need to do to continue making this bigger and de-risk it.
Mate, how are you getting so much drilled so quickly? I mean, you've delivered so much since the IPO. I know you got that extra drill rig, but is it just luck, or have you guys got a really good system? I mean, it looks like there's a system.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're sounding like a geologist more and more every day, Sean. It's great. It's a mineral system, and that's what we are drilling, and the system is developing very well. You know, we've continued to knock it out of the ballpark, really, in terms of what we're drilling, and it comes down to the understanding that the team has on this system. You know, it is very predictable in at least, like I say, that longitudinal axis. When you get into the third dimension, we're doing more drilling now to understand the morphology of each one of those shoots, but we can be predictable in extending it. So we're getting better at hitting it without a doubt. And you know, let's touch wood, but you know, the system is pretty special also. It's throwing up grades and widths that you don't often see in Victoria, in Australia, or globally.
Just with this step out, where we've got such a high hit of gold, which is just, I mean, the market's got to take notice, obviously, today. Is this the tipping point of an explorer? Or we start looking at a maiden resource, or going to be a producer? Like, what's your thought pattern with what you've got this morning?
What we have is something that is getting bigger and getting bigger with great interest. We're not just a one-hole wonder. We're not just a one-shoot wonder. We've got multiple shoots developing across large areas, and our focus is to make this bigger at the moment. It's not to use our drill meters to define these shoots in isolation to get to a resource in the shortest possible term. Our aim here is to make this bigger. If we want to get a resource later next year is our aim. We will need to bring more rigs. The system demands more rigs. You don't have one of these systems and muck around. You really go hard, and that's what we've been doing, and we'll continue to push to continue the news flow and to build up that project to take it to the Maiden resource. But today our focus is making it bigger.
Well, it's like my standing reservation at lunch in the city every second Friday. It's like I just look for another announcement from Southern Cross every other week. There's just another one that comes all the time. I mean, I know when we spoke very recently, where we were trying to push you to the market, because we're big believers, you just come back from Beaver Creek, and you've been discussing with the fund managers in North America your project. I mean, they wouldn't have reached out to you yet because they're still asleep, but I'm sure our phones will ring off the hook today, and I'm guessing yours will too.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, these results are globally understood. This is not just something that's doing great things for Victoria and the renaissance of the Victorian goldfields, which it is. But in Australia, we really have a paucity of gold projects coming through the system in explorers, I should say. So outside the mines or current projects that are being developed, we only see 4 projects that are greater than 2 million ounces. In the top 20, there's only 2 projects that are greater than 3 grams. So this project has the opportunity to distinguish itself both in grade and scale here in Australia. But equally, Australia is a pretty good jurisdiction to find gold and to work in, and as a consequence, it gets a global brand also.
Well, I just want to highlight one point which we spoke to when we've been working with you for quite some time. In the world, there are 10 top gold mines with low-cost producers. 2 of them are in Victoria. Out of 10 globally, 2 of them in Victoria on your doorstep. I mean, it's pretty easy to say that with what you keep putting out with these, 380 grams, that's just huge. I mean, are these guys looking at you? I mean, could you be a takeover target with the type of grades that you've got coming out here, and you're proving the system time and time again?
Well, time will tell if that's the case, Sean. But one thing I do know, if you have a project that's a top tier project that continues to deliver in terms of results, and you can continue to de-risk the project across the board. We bought the freehold land, as I mentioned. As we work towards getting other permissions and permits, this will become, and even more so, a desirable project. And remembering, it's not just the gold. We do have an antimony potential byproduct here, which in situ is about 10 or 15% value. That is a very key metal in the world from a predominantly a defence point of view. And so Australia and Victoria has the opportunity to build up a supply chain around that antimony and those antimony mines that exist here also. So it's playing, the gold will pay and the antimony will help the project get built, I think.
I know you've got to go to Japan, Mike, but listen, it's going to be a very busy morning for us today. What I'd like just to cover, we'll chat about antimony in our next catch-up, but what results can we expect soon? I mean, should I just put in the calendar, we're going to speak again in 2 weeks with another cracking result? Or, I mean, what's happening at the moment?
We've got 2 rigs turning consistently, and that means there's 4 drill holes today in the lab or being processed by our geologists. There's 2 holes that are in progress, and they'll just keep rolling on. So now we're starting to put out a few more drill results because we took that second rig a few months ago. So those drill holes that we started drilling a few months ago are now being processed and coming through. So just
a quick note, was this this 380, was that from the second drill rig or the first drill rig?
That was the second drill rig.
Okay, well, it started off with a bang. There you go. It's come on with the Midas touch. Okay, so we've got more gold. And just one last note, 46 holes, 16, is it 17 now, 100-meter gram intersections, and almost every single hole's encountered gold virtually.
Well, not every single hole, but it's a pretty bloody good strike rate. You could say that it's the Bradman of gold deposits so far.
Okay, fantastic. Well, listen, Mike, thanks a lot for your time today. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to get out there before we bounce?
No, I just highest grade, Sean. New area. The system's continuing to develop.
Yeah, congratulations, mate. It is a good system. Let's see what happens today, but we'll be in touch. Thank you for your time, as always.
Thanks for your spontaneous getting on the ground and getting the story told, Sean.